everybody, I'm Becky Adams, and welcome to my little crafting corner of the world. I'm coming to you from Southeast Idaho. I am about 3 hours north of Salt Lake City, so I'm in Idaho, but the nearest big city is Salt Lake City because I live in a very, very tiny farming town. So I am so excited to be here for Happy Haven weekend, and I am so grateful to Paige and Andrea for having me. Gosh, we are so lucky to have these ladies as a part of the scrapbooking industry. I adore them both so much. It was so fun. I had the opportunity to go to Colorado to Lovely Lane weekend and spend the weekend with them. And it was so much fun. If you ever get the chance to meet these ladies in person, you definitely need to do so. So as I mentioned, it's Happy Haven weekend, and we are going to create a bonus layout together, and we might even create two. We're going to see how things go, but looking through this kit, I don't know that we can stop at just one layout. So let's go down to my desk, and we're going to jump right in and get started with the creating. Okay, friends, here are a few bits and pieces from the Happy Haven kit that I pulled out that I would like to work with. We're going to work with a cut file title today, designed by, of course, Miss Paige Evans, called Remember This Moment. This cut file is in your kit. Paige cut these out just out of white cardstock, and they're included in your kit. We're going to back this cut file with pattern paper, and then I'm going to use this solid green paper from the project pad as the background of my layout. But before we jump in and do that, I wanted to say one thing too. If you would prefer not to have your cut file backed, I think that this layout would actually work really well with that. The solid green background is actually perfect for this title. So if you don't want to back the cut file, don't feel like you have to. This is the perfect background for not backing a cut file. However, I love pattern paper, and I'm kind of like Paige, and I say the more pattern paper, the better. I want to use all of them all the time. So let me show you what pattern paper I used to back this cut file. And I backed the cut file off camera just before I started filming here so that we could save a little bit of time. Feel free to back your cut file as I'm creating the layout here, or you can pause the video, back your cut file, and then jump back in when you have that done. But this is the pattern paper that I used. I think you already used or will be using a few other bits of this pattern paper on other projects, but we're also going to use that to back the cut file. And I believe all of these pattern papers that I used came from these little squares on this pattern paper. So we have the cut file backed, and when I'm creating, there are three things that are the most important to me that I want to use, that I include on, I would say, 99.9% of the layouts that I create. And those three things are the title, the journaling, and the photos, of course. So every once in a great while, I'll create a layout without photos if I just have a story, but I always try to include those three things. So that's what I always put on my page at the very beginning, so that I can make sure that I have room for everything, and everything that is a must-have for me is included on the layout before I bring embellishments in. So here's my title, and I'm thinking I want it about, a third of the way, or excuse me, 2/3 of the way down the page. I have three photos that I want to use on this layout from Lovely Lane weekend. Such a fun weekend. And I'm thinking that this is going to be kind of my general design, and then I want my journaling to go down here as well. So I still need to trim that up, but I'm going to just set it right there for now so that as a reminder, like, hey, don't forget this. This is where it needs to go. Let me grab my paper trimmer. And the first thing that I wanted to do, I like to have some sort of a border on my page. A lot of times I will cut the background paper down and back it with another pattern paper. Sometimes I will physically add, strips of pattern paper for a border. Sometimes I'll use a cardstock background as a border. But today I wanted to use some of the fun washi that is included in the Happy Haven collection. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So if you put this washi just directly on this green paper, it doesn't stand out as much as I wanted it to. It's not as bold. You don't see the blue shining through as much as I would like. So I'm going to take, this is the tan paper from the project pad. You can use this, or you can use, if you have a scrap of cardstock, whatever you need, or you can use whatever you'd like. Or if you want to, you can just use this straight on the background. But I wanted to use this blue kind of gingham washi along the top and the bottom of my layout. So what I'm going to do is put this on this white piece of paper, and I'm just carefully rolling this out so that I don't tear it. And then I'm just laying it down on this piece of white paper or scrap of white cardstock, whichever you'd like to use. I'm just going to wrap the ends around there. You can trim them off if you'd like, whichever works for you. Then I'm going to just take my paper trimmer and line this up so that I have my blade is going to go right on the edge of that washi. So we have this really cute kind of blue gingham border now. So I'm going to do that one more time because I just want a border along the top and bottom of this page. You're welcome. You could do all four sides if you like, but I liked, since this cut file goes pretty much from end to end on this layout, I just wanted to do a top and bottom border. So we're just doing the same thing. We'll lay this washi out. Make sure it's stuck. Tuck the ends around. And then I'm going to do the same thing and just take my paper trimmer, line it up so that I'm cutting right on the edge of that washi. And there we have two super cute borders to go along the top and bottom of the layout. So now that I have that tape in place, I'm just going to use a little bit of adhesive here and put this border in place along the bottom of my layout. And then I think what I'm going to do when I get back to my sewing machine is stitch along this border as well. And you'll be able to see that in the final photos of this project. So I'm doing just a little bit of adhesive here and placing this on the top of the layout. And then again, I'll stitch along there as well. So now that I have that in place, I kind of know where I want my journaling to go, but I want to adhere my title first. And I just love dimension, friends. I don't know how else to say it, but I'm going to use pop dots to adhere this title. And I want to make sure and get, plenty of pop dots so that we don't have any sagging on the title. These pop dots that I'm using are by Scrapbook Adhesives by 3O. They happen to be my favorite ones. They're just so easy to use. So easy to use. So I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and there's this script word right there, and I'm just going to cut this pop dot, I guess adhesive squares, whatever you want to call them, and place a couple of little tiny strips. Oh, and I actually cut a little bit big. So that this portion of the title stands out from the background as well. Let's just flip that over. Might need to trim those down just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and remove the backing from my pop dots. So while I'm doing this, friends, I would love to know what the theme of what photos are you using for this layout, the one that you're creating with this cut file title. I think it's always so interesting. We can all be using the exact same products, the same title and everything, and still come up with very, very different projects. So I'm going to just get my T-square ruler here. So that I can make sure I have this title straight. My T-square ruler is one of my favorite tools. One of my most reached for tools. Okay. Now that we have that in place, my title in place, I'm going to move on to the photos next. So I have 3 photos that are all 3x4, and I printed those at home. And I printed them with a white border. So I'm just going to tuck, some of these will go behind the title a little bit. I don't necessarily want them straight across the page. And they don't all have to be super even. I want them a little bit, I guess not straight. I can't think of the right word right now, but. And then the other fun thing that I wanted to do on this layout, actually, before we jump into embellishing, let me go ahead and put my journaling in place. So I printed my journaling at home just on regular copy paper using a regular printer, nothing super exciting. And I use the American Typewriter font. It's one of my favorites, just kind of a basic typewriter font. And I want my journaling to go about right there. So we'll just put a little bit of adhesive. And then I'm going to use my ruler to make sure that I'm getting my journaling on there straight. There we go. Okay. And so now we can start in with embellishing. So the main kind of fun embellishment that I wanted to add to this page are these cute buttons. I love this button pattern paper. And before, like, you worry that I'm going to make you fussy cut dozens of paper buttons, I have found this 3/4 inch circle punch works perfectly on so many of these buttons. So I'm gonna use my scissors here because I've already punched a few of them out. I'm just gonna kind of square this off again so that I can use my punch again, because I punched a few to make sure that this was going to work. And it leaves just a really nice white border on a lot of these buttons. So just go through this pattern paper. You can take as few or as many buttons as you would like and just punch those out. Some of them I am going to come in and fussy cut, not many of them, but I really like the different shapes of some of these buttons. So some of them are heart shaped, some of them are little flower shaped. So I'm just going to fussy cut a couple of them. This is definitely optional. You could just use the punch and just make this more of a circle button than a flower button. It's totally up to you. I'll just kind of square this off again. Actually, I want to come back and fussy cut this little square button, and then we're going to see how many buttons we have here and if we need to keep going, because I did punch a few ahead of time. So we'll set that aside. And even the buttons that are on the edge, you can see this one is cut off. I do that on purpose. I use the buttons that are on the edge because it makes the design look a little more cohesive if the buttons go off the edge of the page. So we'll just go ahead, tuck some of these buttons under my photos. And I think we're going to have plenty of buttons here. And I'm just trying to, like, I don't want too many pink buttons right close together, so we're just kind of spreading those out. So that we have this cute button border there at the top of the page. And I like that. I like how those look. So again, I'm going to reach for my foam adhesive. And to do this, oops. To make this a little more interesting, not just to make everything kind of the same height, I have two different heights or depths, however you want to say it, of foam adhesive. These white ones are 1 millimeter thick, and the black ones are 3 millimeters thick. So it's kind of fun to vary the height of your foam adhesive, and it just gives your layout a little bit extra, a little bit more interest. I'm going to use a thinner foam adhesive for these buttons that I'm I'm just slightly tucking that one under the photo. And this one that goes off the edge, do the same. And just adding foam adhesive. So I'm curious, friends, is this the first event that you've done with Paige and Andrea? How many events have you been joining them for? Let me know in the comments. We'll just keep adhering these cute buttons. This would also be a fun technique. You could do flowers if you wanted. You could do stars. You could do, like, use a heart punch and do hearts. So many fun options. And it's a really easy technique that doesn't take much time when you use your punches. So we'll make sure that we've got all these adhered there. I think we've only got a couple more to go. We'll finish up this sheet of adhesive. I don't know about you, but I always find it so satisfying to finish an entire sheet of, well, of anything. Stickers, embellishments, adhesive, all the things. Just remove the backing on this last one. Oh, got one more. Okay. All right, I like that. I think that is super cute and super fun. Now you'll notice I left a little bit of room over here on the bottom right side of this layout. And I think I want to do a couple things. I want to bring some of these buttons down here to kind of balance things out. And then I couldn't make a layout using the Happy Haven collection without flowers. Right, friends? There are so many beautiful flowers in this collection. I had to use them. So I have these two flower die cuts. One is the blue flower, then one is the pink flower. I want this blue one to kind of tuck behind the pink one and even this border. And I'm going to use some bigger foam dots here. This page has lots of texture, lots of dimension. It's one of my, I love dimension, friends. I love dimension. I'm just gonna move that blue flower just a little bit. There we go. And then I wanted to add in a couple more flowers. If you use these like adhesive foam squares with the backing, I'm curious if you're like me, do you find this backing all over the place? As hard as I try to keep those little things in the garbage, somehow they end up all over my house. I've even found one in my bed before. I have no idea how it got there. I would guess maybe it was, I don't know, maybe stuck to my foot when I crawled in bed. Who knows? But I want to know, do you guys find that? Do you have that problem as well? Okay, I think I want a little pop of yellow right here at the bottom. So I'm just going to trim out this little yellow kind of flower scallop button. I'm not going around each of those little tiny scallops. You definitely could. We'll tuck that right there. And because I kind of like to do things in groups of 3, I want to add one more button down here. I don't have a ton of room, so we're just going to go with this smaller. I guess maybe it's a medium one on this pattern paper. That was not a great job of fussy cutting, so we're going to fix this a little bit so it's not quite so wonky. And then this will be the final touch on this project. I can put that right there on the corner of my journaling. All right, and that's always a good sign when we have tons of little embellishments and they all stick, they all stay in place when you're when you pick your layout up. Friends, I love how this one turned out. I have one more layout that will come together in just a few minutes that I wanted to share with you. So I'm going to take just a minute here and clean up quickly, and then we're going to do just one more project. Just one more. I think there's always room for just one more project, right? One more project. Okay, so I'm going to set the embellishments that I have picked out for this layout here to the side. I'm going to work with 2 3.5 by 5 photos on this project. And then I have 3 papers that I wanted to work with. So this orange one, this beautiful floral that has the greenery on back, and then this purple stripe. This is paper number, anyway, I'm not seeing which paper number this one is, but you have used this for another project. That's okay, don't worry about it. We are going to cover that up. So I am going to use this page as my background. So I want to go ahead and trim off that branding strip. Hang on to that. You can definitely use that on another project. This orange, the solid orange paper, I just want to use as a border. So I'm going to cut off just a 1 by 12 inch strip of that one. And then this paper, I want to cover about 1/3 of the page. So I'm going to, actually a little more than that. I want to use 5 inches. So 5 inches by 12 inches of this flower paper. Now, if you have this paper, this striped paper cut down a little bit more than this, don't worry. Use a piece of white cardstock or any cardstock as a base and just completely cover it with, or take the 2 pieces and make a 12 by 12, or honestly, you can use another pattern paper entirely if you'd like. So I'm going to put this page down, or excuse me, this pattern paper, this beautiful teal floral down on one side. And we're going to use it kind of like this. And then I want to use this orange border strip, or this orange strip as a border, but I wanted to give it a little bit of interest. So I'm going to use a scalloped border punch. and just punch scallops. I'm starting in the center to hopefully get my scallops centered. Just make sure everything is lined up correctly and just punch across that strip. Of course, you don't have to use a scallop punch, any border punch, or if you want to just keep it solid, that is awesome. That is one of my favorite things about scrapbooking, is just how different all of our projects turn out. Same supplies, completely different stories, and different look. And that went really crooked, friends. Hang on a minute. We're going to try that one more time. And that's still a little bit wonky, but it will be, I think we'll cover it up with my photos. So we'll put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this strip. And we're just going to tuck that, that orange border there in place. Don't worry if you've got a little bit of excess on either end, you can always come back and trim that with just a pair of scissors. Okay. And I have these darling photos. These are some of my most favorite photos that I've taken recently of my nephew and my daughter. I mean, look at that smile. Anyway, I'm a little partial. He's such a cute kid, and he loves hanging out with my daughter. So these are the two photos that I'm going to use, and I'm going to put them about right here on my page. So I'll use my ruler again to make sure that everything is lined up correctly. And I'm placing these photos about an inch from the right side of the page and about 2 inches from the top of the page. Okay, so now we have my photos in place, and if you remember from the first layout we did together, I want to make sure I have 3 things in place before I start embellishing. So we're going to go, we've got my photos, and I need my title and my journaling. And on this particular project, it actually works out so that my title and my journaling are in the same little frame. So the title for this layout is just swing, because that's obviously what they were doing in these photos. And I'm just going to place the title here using these gold letter stickers that come from the project pad. I'm curious, when my daughter and my nephew were on the swings, swinging, you know, with him sitting on her lap facing her, what did you guys call that? What do you call that? Around, like when I was growing up, we called it the spider. But my nieces and nephews were telling me the other day that that is not what you call it anymore. So I'm curious, what do you call it when you're sitting on the swing like that? I remember I used to do that all the time with my kids when they were little. So let me know in the comments what you called that, because I'm curious, because my nieces and nephews tell me I'm totally wrong. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I just printed my journaling at home. I used the American typewriter font. This time, because I was working in a smaller space, I condensed it. But you don't have to do that. That's up to you. It just, sometimes I condense it and sometimes I put it I leave it not condensed. So I have a few embellishments. I love this little tree, the foam sticker. So I was thinking that could go right there. This cute sticker that says, "Any day spent with you is my favorite day." And then I couldn't resist this little best friends foam sticker because that is what my nephew calls my daughter his best friend. And it's so cute. Anyway, so I'm going to tuck this sticker here. Actually, I changed my mind. I want to pop this up and put it over the photo a little bit. So I personally don't like things sticking on my photos. Like I try really hard not to put anything that's sticky on my photos. So sometimes what I will do is I'll take a sticker or die cut, whatever I'm working with, and I won't remove the backing on the foam stickers or any of the stickers that touch my photo. So here I want it overlapping my photo, and I'm just not going to remove the backing off of these top few stickers, or top few foam stickers, foam adhesive, sorry. I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, so we'll add those there. I love this fun butterfly. And I just, friends, when I got this kit, I just pulled out a few pieces that I knew I wanted to use and put them on wax paper so that I could kind of, you know, one, have them organized to get ready for this class, and two, so I could move them around and see exactly where I wanted them to go. So because I want to layer this best friends title, or I guess kind of a subtitle, over that sticker, I need a little bit of foam adhesive to go on the bottom of it. So I just cut a couple of foam squares in half. And I'm going to put them there along the bottom of that sticker, and then remove the backing and place that just right there, kind of to tie this little embellishment cluster together. Okay, so now it's time to adhere my journaling and my title. Again, I just printed this at home, and then I used a foam sticker, this little kind of a slide frame, to adhere it to my page. And again, I didn't put adhesive right here, which is where it's going to touch my photo, so that there's no sticky stuff on my photo there. And then I'll layer this tree kind of on top. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my backing again because I'm layering foam stickers. I need to put some foam adhesive so that they will adhere well. So we'll use just a few. And then I need to decide, I think I want the placement up here a little bit further. Okay, so we'll remove the backing on these. And then place this cute tree right there. Actually, I'm going to come back with one more foam square so that the tree doesn't sag, excuse me, in that upper corner there. I have just a couple more things that I wanted to add to this page. I thought these bees were darling, and again fit so well because it's a photo taken outside in the summertime. So I think I'm going to put that bee just right there. on the edge of that photo, or excuse me, the edge of that frame. And then this bee, I want to put down here in this embellishment cluster. And then I want to add this little flower too. Trying to decide which spot. I could put it right there on the side of my little frame, or I could put it right there. Let me know in the comments where you would put it. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it right over here. I kind of like how it covers a little bit of that gap there between those two stickers. Honestly, I don't think either placement is wrong. And we'll just put that right there on the sticker. And then got a couple other little tags hiding right over here. And you know what? Now that I'm looking at this, I don't think I'm going to use them. I was going to layer them under here, but I think I actually like it better without. So we'll save those for another project. So to finish things off, I can't resist using this pink Rick Rack washi. So we're just going to do a cute, fun border here along the bottom of this page. I love washi that is cut into different shapes. I think it's so, so fun. If I can get it straight and placed on my layout here. Okay. So here we go. Just right here along the bottom. We'll press that in place. And there's a couple reasons that I really like this. One, I love the shape of the washi. Two, I love, and it's kind of hard to see here on camera, but there you can see it. It's got some, a pop of gold, like a gold vine on the middle there. And I like that that kind of ties together my title, this best friend sticker, and then we've got gold here, one more place on the layout. So really quick, let's look at these two layouts that we got done. This first one, we use this fun cut file title, and you can back that with pattern papers, or you can leave it blank, whichever you'd like. And then this fun button border along the top with 3 3x4 photos. And then there's this one that has 2 3.5x5 photos, some type journaling, gold title that we tied in with a subtitle over here, and washi with a little bit of a gold flare there at the bottom. All right, friends, I hope that you enjoyed working through those two projects with me. We got 2 layouts done with this kit in well under an hour. So I cannot wait to see what else you are creating with these kits, or this kit, excuse me. Please make sure and share the projects that you're creating this weekend in the group. I don't know, and I think that Paige and Andrea would agree with me. One of the most rewarding things about teaching and doing these events is seeing what you create and how you make our projects your own, and the memories that you choose to document with the exact same kit. So thank you again to Paige and Andrea for having me this weekend. It has been such a fun event. I adore both Paige and Andrea, and I hope that you've had a wonderful time, and I will see you again soon, friends. Have fun.